One of Spider-Man's greatest and scariest enemies is the lethal Carnage. Born from a bond with a Venom symbiote offspring, Carnage is a part alien symbiote and part psychopathic murderer Cletus Kasady. So being that the symbiote bonded with Kasady, we know Carnage is dangerous and unhinged, and endowed with most of Spidey and Venom's powers. But believe it or not, he's armed with a much more powerful arsenal than they are, and then some. Before we get started on Carnage's powers, be sure to swing on over to that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things CBR. You don't want to miss a thing. Superhuman durability and stamina. Every hero has their own variables and different powers and/or skills they bring to the table. But where there are good guys, there are also villains with equal or greater powers. Now imagine a villain who won't ever quit or back down. Case in point, Mr. Cletus Kasady, a terrifying human who takes living things out without a second thought. Scary? Yeah, but as Carnage, he's stuff of nightmares. The symbiote endows its host with a slew of powers, right? We know this much from Venom and his many hosts, but Carnage has an insane amount of durability. The tissue that makes up the symbiote makes Kasady's body much harder and therefore resistant to physical injury than a normal human. He can withstand high-caliber bullets, energy blasts, powerful impacts, and falling from great heights without getting hurt. It's almost like he can't be stopped by any weapon. Add to this his incredible stamina. His muscles generate less fatigue toxins during physical activity than normal humans do. This means he can keep exerting himself fully for about 24 hours straight before he even starts to get tired. Insane, right?
Dad! Ready for some father-son quality time?
Blood Bond. Carnage was originally written as a darker version of Venom. He was supposed to take over after Venom was killed, but because Venom's popularity increased, Venom did not allow creators to kill off Eddie Brock or Venom. As an alternative, comic book writer David Michelinie decided to have part of the alien symbiote give birth to another symbiote. They reproduce asexually, so unfortunately there's no romantic story about the Venom symbiote having a romantic rendezvous. The new organism would attach itself to Eddie's cellmate, Cletus Kasady. We know it's shocking they met in prison, isn't it? The crazy cool thing about this new symbiote was that it actually entered through a cut on Kasady's hand and therefore bonded with his blood. Nothing like the bond of blood brothers, right? This means that the symbiote is bonded to his bloodstream, which in turn means that it's part of him. They are the same entity. The symbiote and Kasady are bonded on a molecular level. Human cells bonded with symbiote cells. The symbiote can hide in his bloodstream, which has caused a mutation in the blood itself. So when the symbiote is seemingly destroyed, part of the organism lays dormant and can be regenerated simply by bleeding.
In your face, ugly!
Immunity. Physical healing abilities are great. They make fighting less worrisome because, hey, hurt me all you want, I can heal myself and be fine. That's one of the added benefits of the symbiote bond to its host. But what about a different kind of healing? Like, say, healing against illness and diseases. Sure, we can all go to a visit to our doctor and get patched up or offered some medication, but we still inevitably end up sick at one point or another, especially during flu season. And what about those vile diseases we haven't been able to cure yet? You know, all those evil ones that kill us. The symbiote will protect its host at all costs, and so it heals them. And because of the symbiote, Carnage's regenerative healing factor extends to his immune system as well, which basically makes him immune to the effects of all known earthly diseases, infections, and illnesses. Yes, even the ones that current human medical care can't cure, such as cancer. As long as Kasady remains bonded with the symbiote, of course. This also means other things can't affect him the same, such as drugs. It would take a larger dosage of drugs to have its full effects on Carnage than it would on a normal human. Enhanced physical strength. Superhuman strength has become sort of a standard in the superhero world. If you're a comic book character, chances are you have incredible amounts of strength. But specifically in the Spider-Verse, Peter Parker is arguably pretty darn strong, and when the Venom symbiote bonded with him, it not only adopted his powers but also enhanced them, and gave him a pretty awesome black suit. But when the symbiote was rejected by Peter, it took with it not only just the learned abilities and powers that Spider-Man had, but also a hatred of Peter. Hell hath no fury like a symbiote scorned. The symbiote bonded with Eddie Brock, which gave us Venom, and even stronger characters. Then Venom spouted an offspring, which bonded with Kasady. The Carnage symbiote was fueled by rage and all kinds of psychopathic stuff, and maybe each symbiote gets stronger than its parent. But all this made Carnage superhumanly strong. He's shown himself to be way stronger than even Spider-Man and Venom combined. Now that's pretty scary. He can lift about 80 tons, which in itself is pretty impressive, but his strength increases with his size and variable muscle mass.
It's just a big ball of goop. It can't be that dangerous.
I think it can!
shape-shifting abilities. In case you've forgotten, Venom and Carnage are the result of a symbiotic bond between alien symbiote and slightly unhinged humans. The symbiotes give them enhanced abilities and powers, but there's still a sort of separation, or in the case of Kasady, they pretty much fuse. But the point of a symbiotic relationship is both parties feel and fuel one another. They both need each other. So naturally, the symbiote will try to protect its host. The enhanced abilities that Carnage has are disastrous, dangerous, and impressive. But another important factor to self-preservation is being able to hide. It is often seen in nature survival is a basic instinct for all living creatures. You might be thinking, Carnage can rip through anything, why would he need to hide? Well, sometimes a symbiote doesn't want to be bothered, seen, or removed from its host. Carnage possesses shape-shifting abilities that Kasady has full control over, which include size, shape, texture, color, and hardness. Pretty neat, right? This means it can immediately mimic the appearance and texture of any normal clothing that Kasady desires. It can also camouflage itself with any surrounding environment and become pretty much invisible. Can project web-like substance from any part of his body. So being able to change the texture and density of your suit is pretty darn cool. It's like wearing armor, or you can change your mind and change into something lighter. What could make the suit cooler? How about the ability to project from it? That's not asking for much, is it? The Venom symbiote gained power similar to that of Spider-Man, because it originally bonded with Spidey, i.e. webbing, wall crawling, etc. And since Carnage is the offspring of Venom, this means Kasady can project a powerful, organic web-like substance similar to the webbing Spider-Man has. Transitive property at its best. He too uses this webbing to swing from building to building or as means of immobilizing someone, but Kasady can do something they can't. He can generate tentacle-like appendages from various parts of his body, which he often uses either in combat situations or to restrain someone. These appendages can also be warped into different arms, legs, and on occasion, wings. He can send part of the symbiote to direct its movements into a victim's body, subduing them from the inside. If this sounds absolutely terrifying, it's because it is. We wouldn't want to cross his path ever. Can form weapons out of itself. What makes a serial killer scary? Well, lots of things, duh. For one, it's the fact that they kill. Serial killers are killers who kill repeatedly. Now take a serial killer and remove any trace of humanity, any trace of goodness or remorse, and replace it with a bloodlust, and you have Cletus Kasady. He's pretty terrifying as a human man, we know this. Now add the symbiote on top of that, and you have a killing machine who enjoys destroying anything in its path because, well, it's fun. This all sounds pretty awful, right? Well, since it's already pretty bad, let's make it worse, because why not? What could make Carnage worse? Let's add the fact that he has weapons at his disposal anytime he wants them. No, we're not talking about a secret arsenal he has stored somewhere. We're talking about his deadliest ability, which is forming weapons out of the cellular structure of his body. Yup, kind of like the T-1000 in Terminator 2. Remember how scary he was? Carnage can turn his hands into axes and he's a ruthless killer. This just makes him twice as deadly and 1,000 times more terrifying. Telepathy. Carnage is one crazy psychopath. We know he's super strong and can physically restrain, control, and destroy anyone and anything. Not being able to control your own body really sucks, especially when the one restraining you could kill you at any moment. What could possibly be worse than that? In case you didn't know, symbiotes share some of their abilities, especially when they're related. So like all symbiotes, Carnage possesses some telepathic abilities. These powers allow him to plant thoughts into a person's head. Yes, we know it gets worse. He uses a symbiote tendril to do it. Ouch. In the storyline in Carnage Mind Bomb, Matthew Kurtz is a psychiatric specialist who's trying to treat Carnage. Poor fool, he thought he had old Kasady under control, until of course poor old Kurtz ends up with a symbiote tendril drilled into his head. Carnage is then able to dump some cuckoo banana images into Kurt's mind so he can show him how he sees the world. Carnage's view of the world is probably enough to drive anyone mad, which it does in this case. Kurtz runs around like a madman and is later taken out by Ravencroft police guards. Super spider sense. Having similar powers to Spider-Man, it makes sense that Carnage has some sort of spider sense, right? He has a very similar extrasensory ability to Spidey, only a lot less complicated, with the enhancements brought on by the symbiote suit, the alien costume to detect danger from every which way, nook and cranny, and provide Kasady with ample time to adjust accordingly. It's not like he needs it, but he's got it. Hey, you never know if you're gonna need something until you need it. His spider sense is a lot more efficient than Spider-Man because it takes a lot less time to kickstart. And let's not forget that Kasady's powers and reflexes are way faster than Spidey's. He can dodge a ton of bullets all at once. He is that fast. The symbiote costume is one nifty enhancement machine, isn't it? There's also one huge benefit for Carnage that makes him much more terrifying for Spider-Man. Because Carnage is the symbiote child of Venom, it has all of its abilities. And because Venom was originally bonded to Peter Parker, they are all immune to the spider sense. Oh boy, that's definitely bad news bears for Spidey. This means Carnage can sneak up on Spidey anytime he wants to.
John Jameson, adding you to the synoptic will really make my day.
Super healing. As an agent of chaos, destruction, and pure evilness, Carnage has some crazy superpowers that add to his deadliness. His scariest trait is of course the fact that he has no conscience or remorse. He destroys for the sake of destroying, which makes him absolutely lethal and relentless. But aside from being a complete psychopath with no regard for any living thing, what else could make someone attacked without a second thought? Lack of fear? Or perhaps logic? Yes, they're all good, but what about knowing that you could heal yourself if you get hurt? Ah yes, that'll do it. Wolverine and Deadpool are the kings of healing, with Deadpool even regrowing limbs if they're cut off, or Wolverine pushing a bullet out of his body. Pretty impressive. But our friend Carnage here has the uncanny ability to regenerate entire limbs as well. But one of the most impressive things is that he can also regenerate organs. Yeah, you heard that right. And not just ones that have been injured, even ones that have been ripped out of his body during battle. Now all of that combined makes him one of, if not the scariest and deadliest villains ever.
Carnage is
Whoa, there you have it, friends. There were some crazy powers, weren't they? Carnage is absolutely terrifying. Now, knowing about his powers, do you find him scarier at all? Are there any abilities we may have missed? Let us know in the comments below. If you liked this video, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up and check out more awesome videos like this on our playlist. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.